Hi, everybody. So each week I want to make a video explaining what it is that needs to be accomplished this week. So when we start off every week, the new information will be on the top. So this week, exploring grammar. Um, the lecture is here. I really want to emphasize how important it is that you engage in the lecture. Not only is that really the textbook for the class, but it's going to allow you to do the other assignments that you need to do. So the quote unquote normal way is just this first one, which will take you through the interactive, once my computer loads, lecture. I do want to point out that there are other ways to do that though. So if here, this is the Exploring Grammar, if you click here, it downloads as a Word doc. You have other options as well. So if you go to these three dots on the side, download alternative formats, you can download as a PDF, a Word doc. When I was in school, that's how I tended to do things. I like to be able to print something out and take notes on it itself. I like to use different colors and annotate on the side, but that's because that's the way that my brain works. That's the only way really that things sink in for me. So you have that option. You have the option of the interactive. You also have the audio if you want to listen to it at the same time. So I wanted to point all those out to you because we all learn a little bit differently. We all engage in things a little bit differently. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. Don't want to discard that. Sorry, excuse me. Oh, there it is, cancel. So you have the lecture. Second thing is you have the discussion post. You do need an initial post. Your initial post needs to be at least 150 words in length, and it needs to be on this topic. Please, please, please take note that if your last name begins with A through N, you're responding to the first email, this one right here, to the boss man, apparently. And if your last name begins with O through Z, you're responding to a coworker, or you're writing to a coworker here. After you know which one it is that you're doing, you need to make sure that you go through each of these questions. Is the email successful? Because your word count needs to be at least 150, you really should explain a little bit more. Is this email successful? Should be more than a yes or no. It's successful because of A, B, C, D. It's not successful because of A, B, C, D. If you feel like, oh no, I've said everything I need to say and I'm only at 100 words, you can also reword it. So I wanted to point that out to you. As you are writing, something that's really nice is there's a word count right here. So there's never a question of how many words you're going to have there. Okay, so I wanted to point that out to you. I also wanted to point out that in the discussion area, I posted this supplemental material and essential questions. I like to add more to each week, more material, some questions. If you respond to one of these questions each week, it can count as one of your responses because you need to have at least 3 responses per week. This does not count as your initial post, but can count as one of your responses. So you would just reply to me in that case. If you found information somewhere else that you're like, oh, this is so great, I want to share this with the class as a whole, feel free to discuss or to post to the discussion topic. But each week, you can respond here. So I wanted to point that out to you. Then if, again, I'm going to the beginning, the next thing that you need to make sure that you accomplish this week is there's a quiz. It's multiple choice. true or false. So you don't need to wait for me to grade it before you do another attempt. You only have 2 attempts for this week. In the introductory documents quiz, you have 3 attempts, but for this quiz and the rest of the quizzes, you only have 2. And then lastly is this business writing assignment. This is not due until week 4. However, I highly recommend that you start thinking about it now. Start brainstorming, figuring out what it is that you want to do. I'm making another video about what that is, but I wanted to make you aware. If you ever have any questions or concerns about anything, please do not hesitate to reach out.